When we look at personal finances, we are often told that we should spend less and save more. But is this advice right for every situation? Are there times that going against this conventional wisdom is better for us? And are there times that we should splurge some more money? Let's take a look at savings and cost per use. And please remember, nothing that I say in this video is considered financial advice. When it comes to money, the earliest advice most of us were given is to save. It doesn't matter how it was said. It could be save for a rainy day, or if you work really hard and save, you may be able to have that thing that you want. Most of us have early memories of money boxes or savings bank accounts at school. But why are we given this advice? Why was this advice given so universally? It is because this is the advice that our parents were given by their parents. Unfortunately, this advice is not as ironclad as it was when our parents were growing up. Now I can hear some of you wondering, why would savings be a bad idea for our financial journeys? We are often told during the early parts of our financial journeys that we need to reduce our spendings and increase the amount of money that we have to invest with. So how can the advice of our parents and many finance experts to save where possible ever be a bad thing when we look at achieving our financial goals? The first reason comes down to a force that eats away at the power of our money like a river carves through rocks over time to create a canyon. This is the force of inflation. What is inflation? It is a very complex mechanism, but put simply, inflation is the increasing cost of goods and services over a period of time. All of us have heard the saying that things are more expensive these days and that the cost of living has gone up. This is true thanks to inflation. Years ago, your weekly groceries may have cost you $100 per week. Those same groceries now could cost you more than $150 per week. It is important to remember that inflation does not only affect our groceries, but impacts the costs of other things such as petrol, utilities, and other expenses. But what does this have to do with our savings, and why would we want to save less to avoid inflation? As we previously mentioned, inflation is a complicated economic function, but put simply, it causes our money to be worth less now than what it previously was. Now this does not mean that your $1 is not worth $1 now, but what it does mean is that your $1 no longer has the same purchasing power that your $1 used to have. Look back to the example of our groceries. The groceries may not have changed, but we are now paying more for them. If the buying power of our money is being reduced because of inflation, having money just sitting in a bank account, or even worse, having the money physically with you, may not be the best solution for our financial journeys. According to the RBA, the inflation rate in Australia is approximately 7%. Over a 30-year period, our money has lost more than half of its buying power. Now this is only true if our money is doing nothing for us over those 30 years. Having our money in a high-interest savings account will help to reduce the inflation, as the value will be increasing from interest. But even the highest high-interest savings accounts only offer about 5.6% interest. This means that inflation will still reduce the buying power of our savings over time. So what does this mean for our savings? We are not saying don't have any savings. We have spoken previously about the importance of having an emergency fund, as well as buffers for different financial activities. But these examples do show that we should not be relying on savings in order to help achieve our financial goals. By having your money work for you, you can achieve a return much greater than inflation. Not only will the buying power of your wealth stay intact, it will continue to grow even against inflation. Inflation is only part of the reason why saving money or reducing spendings where possible is not always the same solid advice as it was for our parents. Business finance and manufacturing is another factor against it. What do we mean by this? In the past, products were made of a high quality for the period and available technology. Items would often have significantly longer lifespans than compared to equivalent items today. We have all heard stories from our parents about a refrigerator that they owned for over decades. In recent history, manufacturers have been able to reduce costs by also reducing certain qualities. And along comes a saying we have all heard, you get what you pay for. And this is where we now look at the idea that it may not always be in our best interest to save money every chance possible. It is at this point that we look at something called cost per use. When you are looking at making the purchase of something that may not be a need, or you're looking at purchasing a needed item but may be looking to pay more than the minimum for it, you should adopt this method before deciding on that purchase. Figure out how many times you will use the item over the time of owning it, and then divide that number by the price. The idea is that you are wanting to have a lower cost per use. This can be achieved by either purchasing an item that you will use more times, or by purchasing an item that is not as expensive to buy. For example, I live in a warmer part of Australia, so when I look at purchasing winter clothing, I use cost per use. I will often travel to the southern states multiple times throughout the year to visit family and friends, or I may need to travel somewhere cold for work. But I know that most years I will only be getting a handful of uses out of that piece of clothing. This is where both sides of cost per use come into effect. I own a jacket that I paid a bit more than the minimum price for that I've used for many years now. While the initial cost may have been higher, the cost per use is still low from being able to use it so many times over a longer period of time. On the other hand, I will only ever purchase cheap hoodies. Again, I know that I will only get a small number of uses of them throughout the year, but I also know that I will generally not use these items for as many years as my jacket that we previously spoke about. Let's look at another example of how we can use cost per use to help us decide when spending more may be beneficial to our financial journeys. Items that have a replacement warranty are a good option for considering more expensive purchases. When our last washing machine broke down, we decided to spend a considerably higher amount on our next machine. While the different washing options were attractive, that was not where our considerations were made. This company was offering a 10-year full replacement warranty. While I could have purchased a machine that was 30 or 40% cheaper, data and personal experience has told me that I would have likely have had to replace the cheaper machine before that time. This replacement would have resulted in me spending more money over that time. You need to be confident though that the company will still be trading when the warranty is due. And in my example, the company had been operating for more than 130 years, so 10 years seemed like a safe bet. The more expensive machine also reduced cost per use even further by offering water and power saving features that the cheaper machines did not. In a time that inflation is causing the cost of utilities to increase, we should not underestimate the savings we can see by needing to use less of them. Now that we have looked into savings and how inflation erodes them, we are better informed to make decisions for our financial journeys that will help us achieve our financial goals. We have also looked at how the advice given to our parents and to us may not always be the best options for our financial goals. We have seen that sometimes spending more money on a purchase is better from a financial standpoint. But as we are educated people on a financial journey, we know how to spot when this is the best use. If you have found this video helpful, please subscribe to Forever Finance so you will know the moment more helpful videos are uploaded. Please consider liking this video so it will reach more people with its help. If you have something you would like to see us cover, please leave a comment below. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and we will see you all next time.